So Apostate Prophet debated Kawasaki Backflip on the topic of does God exist? As I'm sure you can imagine, Apostate Prophet took an L. And not for the first time. Kawasaki Backflip, aka Khalid, who was only 17 years old, demonstrated to people how Apostate Prophet's knowledge on philosophy, etc. is non-existent. If you want to watch the debate, it's linked in the description. But that's not the topic of this video. In the debate, Apostate Prophet talked about Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimullah, and how Ibn Taymiyyah said something in regards to existence of a creator believing in God. But when you check, did Ibn Taymiyyah say this? He did not. And here's the evidence for this now.
For example, according to the Maturidi school or the Ash'ari school or even the traditionalist Athari school within Islam, the main theological schools, according to scholars like Imam Shafi or or Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, who is very big in the traditionalist circle, he wrote a piece on revelation and reason, and he himself, for example, also said that prophets bring knowledge that you cannot acquire and cannot understand, cannot reach by reason alone, which is why you must be dependent on the knowledge that you get from revelation, because without revelation, by reasoning alone, you could never come, or there is a possibility, but it wouldn't be enough to come to the conclusion that there is a God.
And shout out to Farid, I'll leave his links in the description. All Farid did was simply check what Ibn Taymiyyah actually said by checking sources, by fact checking. Apostate Prophet is a man who claims he knows more than 85%, now 90% of all Muslims about Islam. He's a man who said he's read everything, pretty much. How can he mess up stating someone's opinion? Presumably he's read the book, he's read the source, but he can't quote it properly. This is evidence of his incompetence and evidence of his dishonesty. I'm now going to provide you proof of where Apostate Prophet himself claims, essentially, indirectly, that he's an expert and an authority on Islam.
I can carefully say that I know more than 85% of all Muslims about Islam. I have read the Quran more than 3 times. I studied the Hadith thoroughly. I studied Islam thoroughly. I studied basically everything about Islam. Practiced Islam very, very strictly. I studied it very diligently. I read basically everything that you're supposed to probably study as a Muslim, and that most people don't study.
This is not the first time that Ridvan, Apostate Prophet, has messed up quoting someone's opinion. In one of his old videos, he lied about Ibn Kathir's view on Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi. And here's the evidence for that now.
This hadith was written by an 11th century man called Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi. On top of that, major Islamic scholars that people still trust today, like Ibn Kathir, have pointed out that al-Baghdadi's work is highly doubted and that it shouldn't be taken as a reliable source.
I'm watching this clip and I'm thinking to myself, there's something wrong here. I know that Ibn Kathir does not say that about Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi. So I look it up. And this is what I find. Tarikh Baghdad by Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi is one of the greatest books in Islamic history. SubhanAllah, so it's the exact opposite.
The reason why this is so important is because Ridvan is seen by people as some honest ex-Muslim speaking about the horror of Islam. He is seen as educated. He is seen as an authority on Islam. But if he messes up simple things like this, then what else has he got wrong? What else has he messed up with? How can you trust him as a source of information when he can't even quote or represent people honestly and fairly?
What the